Good evening. I welcome and thank everyone for attending today's webinar. A few weeks back, Mr. Shiv Subramaniam called me and asked, "Can you give a webinar on application of Plexis?" And instantly I said, "Yes, I would love to share my experience and learning with the other fellow engineers." I have been using Plexis since last 9 years as a student, researcher, and engineer. Every day I learn something new about numerical analysis. Today I am happy and I am feeling very happy to interact with you all on the interesting topic. I have been given 45 minutes today. It is really difficult to discuss each and everything within such a short time. Therefore, with the intention of utilizing this time efficiently, I decided to talk on one simple yet complicated topic that has gathered a lot of attention these days: excavation. So many times we hear the term excavation problem. So the question is, excavation is really a problem? So let's try to find the answer to this question and start with today's topic, a numerical solution to the excavation problem. So the construction of underground structure is becoming popular with an increase in the population to fulfill the demand of public infrastructure facilities. So rapid transit system, also called as metro, are constructed for transportation purpose. Many cities are building underground metro network, and such projects demand excavation of soil to construct the subway stations. Uh, in today's webinar, we are going to see basics of numerical analysis. Then I will explain geotechnical analysis of excavation project with the help of case studies of Delhi Metro and Chennai Metro. At last, I will briefly discuss the tips and tricks related to numerical modeling in Plexis, followed by a quick question and answer session. So, a deep excavation. So, uh, in Yeah, so this is a typical cross section of excavation geometry is shown in the figure below, and we call excavation is deep when its depth is more than the 5 meter. And excavation support system requires a careful analysis and design. The whole system can affect on cost and duration of the project. Therefore, as a geotechnical engineer, we must have answer to few important questions like at what depth must an excavation be supported, what you should do before you begin an excavation, and such others. If you do not have answer to this question, then please understand somewhere something you are doing it wrong. So these are the different excavation methods, and however, the bottom up construction method and top down construction method are the most popular one. So in bottom-up method, it is also known as the cut and cover method or open cut method. Figure shows the construction sequence of this bottom-up method. In this method, soil is excavated till the desired depth from top to bottom, and then construction of the slab from bottom to up take place. This is the top-down method. Construction sequence is exactly opposite of that of bottom up method. Construction starts with the roof slab and ends with the base slab. Then coming over to the numerical analysis. So numerical analysis is nothing but studying the problem with the help of mathematical equation. It has a wide range of application in structure in the area of structural engineering, geotechnical engineering, and other branches of the engineering. So there are various methods of numerical analysis like finite difference method, finite volume method, boundary element method, and the finite element method. So finite element method is the most versatile and well accepted in the industry. It was invented by the Russian-Canadian engineer Alexander Henrikov. So finite element method is nothing but the technique to solve numerical equation of engineering problems. And finite element analysis is the practical application of finite element method. So coming to the finite element analysis, so it works on a general principle of the discretization. So it basically divides the larger system into the smaller parts and then it solves the small part and combine it together to get the solution for the entire system. So here in this figure, consider this is the soil volume. So we approximated it in this random this shape, and then we discretize it in the small parts. We solve the each part and then combine it together to get the final solution. So that's the basic principle of the finite element analysis. So Plex is the software that we are talking about today. It works on the finite element analysis approach. So what are the advantages of this finite element analysis? So you can model the complex geometries with AS. Then you can include the dissimilar material properties. You can capture the local effects, and it is very fast and economical. So in the right side bottom corner, so you can see the different element shapes here that we can use. So at the top it is a 1D element, then middle two are the 2D element, and at the bottom they are the 3D element. So this is the mathematical expression of the finite element analysis. So in this analysis, what we do, we give the material properties that generate the stiffness matrix, and then to the geometry, when we apply the external load, so it calculates the displacement, strain, stress, and load with these equations. So this is the flowchart of the numerical modeling. So basically what we do here, that we simplify the physical problem, we convert it into the numerical model, we draw the geometry, we give the material constitutive material behavior, we assign the boundary condition and all. We get the solution. If it is good, then happy. If it is not acceptable, then we need to refine the analysis, we need to improve the model, and if still it doesn't work, then we need to do some structural changes, we need to simplify further the problem. So it's a initially it is a iterative procedure. Once your model is ready, once it is validated, then you can make the parametric study with that same model. So FEA comprises of the three major phases. So what are that three phases? One is pre-processing. So creating the geometry model. So that's the first phase. Then assigning the material properties to each material. So soil and the structural element both. So and then the defining the boundary condition, and then the next step is to generate the mesh, and then final the second task starts, that's the processing the data. So it's a background process, so we need not to do anything in that process thing. So once the analysis is done, the next task begins, that is the post processing. So that is nothing but the to examine the results whether they are acceptable or not, to check for the warnings and the errors. If there is any warning, to address it, to change the geometry accordingly, to revise the analysis, and to prepare the graphs and the output Excel sheet or anything, whatever we want, the figure or whatever. So basically, finite element analysis through numerical geotechnical geotechnical engineering, it allows the soil behavior to be determined. So you can predict the behavior of the soil, you can predict the deformation, you can predict the stresses, strain in the soil and the structure. So, but while doing this numerical modeling, there are some requirements that need for the successful modeling procedure, that are appropriate geometry definition. So you need simplification of the problem such that you are defining the geometry that actually represents the field scenario. Then second is and the most important, constitutive model. So it defines the behavior of the soil. So whether it is a linear elastic model, whether it is a molecular model, elastoplastic model, or it is a plasticity model, the advanced model like a modified clamp clay, soft soil model, like that. So all these features are available so that you can use to model the constitutive behavior of the material. Then the, as I already said, that applying the boundary conditions, and then Then one more thing is that is most important is the construction sequence. So you have to give the construction sequence to the program. So so basically it is a computer program. The output is depend on what input you give. So if you it all depends on the accuracy of your input data. So try to give the each and every parameter with suppose you have the geotechnical investigation report, then you have all these soil parameters and all everything. And then you have the correct construction sequence, so that your analysis output depends on all these things. So these are the different constitutive material model that are available with the Plexis right now at present. So here it has the classification is done based on the material. So suppose and ABC is the how best suitable it is for that particular situation. So suppose if we are looking for the linear elastic model, then it is good for the concrete. So molecular model, it is good for the again soil, some sand or some clay. But for clay, if you want to go, if you you can go for the hardening soil model or some modified clamp clay model as well. If you are doing the dynamic problem, then you can use the HS small model that captures the small stiffness. And for the rock, for mountain tunnel or something, the rock material, so you can use the Hook Brown model or jointed rock model. So these are the different material models that are available. So this is based on the application, the material model based on the application, like for foundation, excavation, for tunnels, for embankment, slope. So which model is suitable for the which application? So it's just a guideline. It's not a like you should have to follow this one. It's not like that. It's just a guideline. They have just it's just a hint that which model you can use in particular situation. So coming to the next, uh, when we talk about the geometric modeling, so Plexis, in Plexis, there are two ways to draw the geometry. One is graphical user interface, or second is you can directly import the external drawing, like from AutoCAD or something. So later on, there will be a small demonstration that at that time you can see in detail how it works, the graphical user interface. But I personally prefer the scripting with Python. So Plexis offers this very versatile and very good feature. I would say that it is a really time-saving feature. So if you are familiar with the Plexis, then you must know about you may be using it already. But obviously, using that coding is will take you some time, 1 or 2 months, or maybe 6 months or 1 year, if you are familiar with it. But once you learn this coding, then you can model the suppose excavation problem we are looking today. You can model excavation problem within couple of hours if you do with this coding. And the biggest advantage is if you want to make the changes further, you can just make within a small with the help of the small command. So generally, it is very helpful when you are modeling a very complicated geometry like tunnel advancement, and if it is a curve alignment or any something like that. If you want to do the very high output analysis, then you can directly give the command and you can generate the output according to you. The one the one of the feature is, see, when you are running the 20, 30, 40 models in a series, so you can directly program it. You can directly monitor it from your phone. You can connect your phone with that application, and just you can sitting at home, you can just see like model is run or not, and you can make the changes. So, coming to our topic and the first case study that we are discussing today. So, this is the one of the underground subway, one of the station of Chennai Metro that is planned, that is proposed to construct with the bottom-up excavation method. So, in this particular station, if we see the soil strata, there are the four different layers. So top three layers are the sand, and the bottom one is they have the rock one. and the width of the excavation is 24 meter, and the depth of the excavation is close to 20 meter. And there are the surcharge at on both adjacent side. These are the existing buildings, and we have to excavate it and at with the present water table, which is at the minus 1.5 to 2 meter. So, and the we have provided here the D wall, diaphragm wall, of length 32 meter. So this is the deform mesh and discretization of the geometry. So this is the initial phase, just material, and this is the final one when we have excavated and then we have analyzed it. So these are the material properties for that particular site. Uh, uh, this is what I was talking about, the construction sequence. So see here we have defined the total construction. We have divided the construction sequence in 35 sub steps. So it started with the application of a surcharge of the existing superstructures, and then install. You have to follow each and every sequence in a correct way. So here, lowering the water table, excavating the first stage of excavation, then again lowering the water table, the second stage of excavation. So like that, so on, and the installation of the struts and all. So finally, we have calculated the factor of safety and all. So this example particularly we are discussing in detail later on, right now. So let me show you the thing. So quickly I will show you how uh, that Python scripting works. Like, it is a very simple coding. Just it's not that rocket science. It's not that difficult coding. So you just need to write whatever the your modeling details are there. So suppose if I am, so this is the code that I wrote for this geometry for this entire station. You can see within a minute you can model the entire excavation problem. So basically here in this starting, I have given this define the material here, then here the structural elements, and later on the construction sequence. That's it. And you just give, so it is very helpful, that the Python scripting, that's what I was talking about. So if you go with if you model this a problem with the graphical user interface, it will take you some like maybe 3-4 hours or something. But if you are familiar with the Plexis, you can write this Python script within maybe half hour or something, and then it will generate the model within 2 or 5 minutes. You can save your time and everything. So here, pay attention to the excavation stages here now. So here you can see that excavation stages are getting added, and here it is modeling. So there are total 35 construction sequence phases are there. So right now we are here. See, that's it, over. Now you just run the analysis and you are done with the problem. So see, here entire thing you can model with just a simple coding or something like that, and that you can write in Notepad or Notepad plus plus or something like this. So again, coming back to our presentation slides. So your analysis, once your analysis is done, You can then plot the results that you want. Here, I plotted the bending moment and shear force diagram of the D wall. So this is for the left D wall and this is for the right D wall. Similar here. So this is the left hand side two figures are for the bending moment and right side are for the shear force diagram. So this is the deformation. This is the horizontal deformation of the D wall. This is again after the water restoration, after restoring the water at the ground level. So we wanted to check what are the changes in the bending moment and shear force here. This is again the deformation, horizontal deformation, and this is the vertical deformation with respect to the horizontal distance. Here we could capture this in Plexis very well. And this is the factor of safety that calculated for the D-wall construction. And these are the strut forces. This is the maximum of all excavation and backfilling phases. So these are the maximum forces in the strut that we determine from the Plexis that finite element analysis. And then this shear force, bending moment, and this strut forces can be used to design the entire system. So as we seen here, the first case for the bottom-up excavation. So we are looking for the next case, which is the top-down excavation. So here the geometry is almost same, but as I said earlier, the construction sequence and that changes from top down to bottom up. So here in this one, what we do, we provide the central pile and column at the center. We start the construction from the top. We construct the roof slab. We keep one opening here to further remove the excavated material from the bottom, and we go further, and then we complete the construction. So here in this one, particularly the width of the excavation is almost close to 33 meter, and the depth is 21 meter, whereas the diaphragm wall is of 26 meter depth. So, and these are the material properties for this particular site. So these are here we have used in the earlier metro station. We have used the Mohr-Coulomb model, Mohr-Coulomb constitutive model for behavior of the soil. In this particular problem, we have used advanced soil model, that is a hardening soil model. And one more thing here, for the column and D wall, we have given the end bearing, whereas this is the tip that we will see later on. And here, this is the construction sequence for the top down construction method. And this is the final excavated model of the station. So here at the center, you can see the central column, and these are the slabs and all. So the similar results also have been plotted for this particular study, but obviously I am not discussing in detail here. I am just showing here the sample output of the total displacement that we captured for this excavation section here. This one is the very interesting and third case study for the today's presentation. So this is one of the metro station of Delhi Metro, and the alignment of the underground tunneling is passing in the vicinity of the heritage structure. So here that dark color one, these are the heritage structure. So here, the focus was not on the excavation, but the focus was on the effect of the excavation on the heritage structure. So we wanted to capture the impact of that excavation and the tunneling work on the stability of the heritage structure. So here in this particular one, we have did the 2D and 3D both analysis. The excavation chamber dimension is quite huge. It's 270-meter length and 27-meter width, and the depth is 15-meter. So, and this has to be constructed with the top-down excavation method. These are the material proper. Here, the soil strata details are there. Basically, only 3 layers, but the bottom layer is the rock one. So they had to. Initially, they were thinking for the blasting, but then after that's the actually motto of this analysis. We wanted to see the vibration impact on the heritage structure. So this is the 3D model for that particular excavation, and these are the heritage structure in Delhi, capital of India, and this is the underground station that is going to come up, and this is the horizontal distance from the station, from the alignment of the tunnel and station to the that respective heritage structure. And this is the for that excavation chamber. So here, here this blue are the plates that are provided for the diaphragm wall. We have provided horizontal veiling struts to stabilize this one. So here you can see that this excavation work do not disturb any of the heritage structure that we captured. Only one, this Rajoki Bauli, this only one heritage is little bit just disturbed with this excavation work. So that you can control while the construction, actual construction. So this particular deformation at each structure we have captured through this analysis, the horizontal as well as the vertical deformation. And this is the cross-sectional view of excavation here. So you can see that excavation is not affecting the Qutub Minar here, but it is affecting the Rajoki Bauli. So you have the conclusion is we have to be careful while excavating it, as there might be a differential settlement or total settlement at this Rajoki Bauli. And these are the various deformation measured at various depth of the excavation at particular heritage structure. This is particularly for this is the 2D analysis that we have done, because the cross section is quite high, so we can't model entire thing in 3D. So we didn't get that results for the tunnel modeling in 3D entire section. So for the localized section, we have done the 2D analysis here. We modeled the twin tunnel, and we have checked that is there any subsidence due to this tunnel, and whether it is affecting the vicinity or not. So this is first tunnel. This is the second tunnel, and this is the vibration analysis. So what we did, we have applied the dynamic loading at the base of the model, and we have checked whether the what would be the effect of the vibration of the construction activity on the structures, as well as the deformation in the soil and all. So we could capture the maximum deformation of 18, almost close to 90 for the vibration. So later on, then the method of construction had to change, because the 90 settlement is quite huge, which we could capture in Plexis. So later on, then we shifted the construction method for the mechanized one and the control one. So coming to the tips of the issues that we face while doing the Plexis, while we doing the numerical analysis in Plexis. So sometimes sometimes when we do the excavation problem, the diaphragm wall that shows the unrealistic vertical movement. So that is because that at the tip of the diaphragm wall there is no resistance, so that you have to select the end bearing option for the diaphragm wall that generates the tip resistance at the bottom, and through that you can minimize your unrealistic vertical movement. So that's one common problem that people generally face during the excavation sequence. Then when the your geometry is very complicated or your model size is very large, then sometimes it's possible that it shows the error that it is unable to generate the mesh. Then but what does it mean really actually? So the solution is actually the we need to optimize the geometry, we need to localize the coarseness of the structural element as well as the soil, and then uh, you can also use the commands like check geometry or area or volume to capture the goodness of the geometry, and then revise the model, and then you can generate the mesh. Then, majorly in the dynamic analysis, sometimes it happens that the force distribution value is much higher than the phase results value. So this is because why that Plexis always the by default Plexis stores the only one calculation step, that is the last one, and it is possible in dynamic calculation that the maximum stress or force or strain occurs in the intermediate calculation step. So the solution for this problem is to increase the storage of the calculation step. So increase your maximum number of step stores equal to the maximum number entered for that particular analysis. Then next is generally in the excavation problem, we after the installation of the D-wall and application of the surcharge, so use this feature, the reset displacement 0. So you can avoid that installation and initial stress deformation in the soil, uh, because it cumulatively add this carry forward, and at final you may get a higher settlement in the soil. So after installation of D-wall, we can use this feature so that we can reset the displacement to 0. Then similar with the reset small strain, if we are doing with this dynamic analysis, and if we want to capture the small strain at in a particular phases, then we can reset small strain up in that particular phase, which will make the soil as a virgin soil again. Then in dynamic analysis again, sometimes we face that the model run for 12 hours, 24 hours, something like that. It's a quite huge time. So basically it happens because your calculation steps are not well defined. So always go for the manual arrangement of the defining the calculation step. So to define these steps, so uh, m is the maximum steps. So you can use here that this formula. Sorry for here typo. So delta t is nothing but the time interval here, and of the your time step for the dynamic cycle. Delta t here here is the duration of the dynamic loading, and mn are the maximum step and sub step. So with this formula we can give the manually the calculation steps, which can reduce the time of the dynamic analysis quite fast. And sometimes we get the error that not enough load steps. So again the solution is increase the value of the assigned load step. So there is one thing like sometimes in the when you are at the last phase of the excavation, and your base of the excavation is shows the heaving, and you don't able to converge the m space to 1. It remains at the 0.9494 or something like that, close to it, and your deformation just keep on increasing like that here, whatever we have shown in the figure. So some here I have seen that few engineers use the feature like global error tolerance. They do change it from 0.01 to 0.015. So and the Plexis then shows that the M stage converts to 1, and it shows it successfully run the analysis. But please note that it is not recommended to use this global tolerance value of 0.1015. That increases your inaccuracy of the analysis. So the solution is to inspect the output and to make the necessary changes in the geometry or your material parameter or something like that. So that's it for today. So thank you and happy engineering. So hello. So shall we go with the question and answer session?
Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, a few questions we are picking.
Okay.
Uh, can we able to one question is whether can we instead of Python can we use MATLAB or anything?
So it's a inbuilt feature of the Plexis. They have linked with the Python, but so its coding means nothing but just writing this. Plexis has their own database of the command. So like for soil, if you want to give the material database, you just use the command soil mat, and then give the stiffness and whatever it is. So you can find the more command details on the Plexis website, but no, with MATLAB it's not possible. Yeah, you have to go with the Python.
Okay. So in the case one, that strut failure, can we able to find out whether it is fail or not? How we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
find out the strut values?
yeah. So here, if you see, just let me share the screen. So here we have basically done the factor of safety analysis for the strut as well here. If you uh, uninstall the strut here like that, so here it gives the factor of safety analysis. So you can carry out and you can check whether your strut is failing or not. So basically you can do each analysis and all. So here we have actually uh, reduced the center to center spacing, or we have changed the strut parameters here to check the stability.
Okay.
Uh,
So how we can find out which is the critical node in terms of displacement or bending maximum bending moment? How we can find out?
yeah. So basically it's structural forces and the deformation of the strut.
So which is the critical point? How we can find out? In our after getting the solution result,
Mm-hmm.
which is a critical point. In case of suppose bending moment, which point is the maximum? How we can find out easily whether any tricks are there?
So basically, actually, here in this particular case, we have went with the horizontal displacement or displacement of the strut or whatever it is. So we restricted up to the displacement of 25 mm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Can you give some tips how to learn Python?
So for doing coding with the Plexis using that Python interface, you need not to be expert in the actual Python. So you just even if Plexis provides a lot of material for the Python scripting. So if you go to the knowledge base of Plexis, you will see a lot of tutorials and lot of scripting commands and all. So just practicing the problem for that one maybe 2-3 times. That will you can make you can do the coding. I think.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Is it possible to plot active process versus passive pressure?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Plotting curve,
Uh-huh.
active pressure versus passive pressure.
Active versus passive.
Yes.
Yes. You get you select your D wall and you get the pressure diagram. No. Yeah, you get it.
Is it possible to show?
Yes. Oh, right now.
You
Okay.
have any
Okay.
result file? You can
Yeah,
show.
yeah. Sure. Yeah, so this is the shear force diagram that we have plotted for this D wall here. So, is that what you are asking for?
Milindra, it is not showing. We are still in input mode only.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now you could you see?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
I- So you can extract it or whatever you want in this one. So this is for one D wall. So you can plot for both the D walls.
One more question
Haha.
raised by Abhishek Datta. You have reduced the stiffness of strut by factor 1.5 for OSF case.
Yes,
Is
exactly.
there any reference for that?
No. It was client's suggestion. So it was their practice that they would do it with the factor of safety. They reduce the stiffness with that factor. So there is no.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. Very good. Connect Edison. What are the main advantage in the Connect Edison? The license is we can use the cloud based. And also we have the option for term license. If you want, now currently we are all in quarantine. So if you want to use for some particular period, you can go for term license. And also we have the yearly subscription license. We have the multiple option. So based on your prefer, you can go for it. And also we have a new product. It is Modito for it is monopile. So we can do the analysis and get the result very fastly because it is like a template you can use for specifically for the monopile. So this is the what I want to share. These are all two new feature you can get it. For price and all, you can send your request. We will share tomorrow. Dr. William, anything you want to say?
Thank you for the very fine presentation, Minlin. It's a very good introduction to the subject of deep excavation. Before we leave, right, I just have one question regarding the modeling of the structure. Maybe it's not a question at all, but just to highlight one key area, maybe you should also consider, or maybe it's already considered, when the struts are modeled, do you take into account all the temperature effects?
No.
At this juncture in time, is it part of the routine work in the deep excavation work up in Mumbai and Delhi?
No. We haven't considered the temperature effect. No.
Okay, all right. And also the second one, just out of interest for everybody in this forum, is that ground monitoring of deep excavation work is really crucial. In your experience, based on your work for so many years, have you seen the monitoring work as part of the workflow, or is it something that you need to push very hard to get the monitoring done?
No, actually nowadays in whatever I have seen that Delhi Metro or Chennai Metro, so they are quite good with monitoring and all. So so I didn't face any issue with it. So they are quite good with this one.
All right, great. Because some